So you've been working with me for about what, 2 months?
Yes.
That's all right, 2 months.
Yep.
You've spent 35 years of your life binging almost every single day. You've
Yes.
gained and lost hundreds of pounds.
Yes.
And you've sought out clinical help. You've sought out help and to know real improvement, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
you've done the HCG. You were in the HCG community, right? You've done the protocol, and
Yep.
you've lost all that weight, gained it all back, and your
Yep.
eating issues and obsession over body image and food has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
You watched my videos for a year. In the process, you hated me, thought I was awful. Then you were listening. Then it made sense. And now we're talking, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here we are at the door, right? Last time we talked, at least on one of these videos, you had 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Yep.
Because at this point, your body is 100 pounds overweight.
Yep, I'd probably say that.
Yeah. Oh, so you're holding on to 100 pounds. So, however, you have continued in this, right? You are no longer binging. However, you did binge this week, and we'll get into that.
Yep.
You have no longer binged, but you're still on the verge of like, I don't know if I can accept this.
Right.
Maybe I'll lose weight first and then accept it. Now you're laughing because you're like, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work.
It does
I
not.
did think that at one point.
Yeah, where you'll go, okay, I'm going to stay in this. I'm going to lose the weight, and then I will accept my body. But that's not how it works.
Right.
Last time you and I talked, you had said, we had made the comparison, right? We had said, here's what we think. What you actually think is that when I lose the weight, I will be calm. I will be so happy. I will feel so good that the removal of food will be worth it, right? There's this bizarre belief that when I lose the weight and receive all of this joy, freedom, love for myself, that those emotions will be so powerful that I will permanently be okay not eating sugar, dairy, gluten, bread, starch, vegetables that are starchy. You can't eat this, no more fruit, no more, you can't have pie, nothing. It will be permanently worth it, correct?
Yes.
You have been thinking that for 35 years.
I have. Fear that I will never be happy or...
But the illusion of that is addictive, right? That's the addiction. Yes. That's like, oh, the safety. I can do it. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Yep. And in the meantime, what really happens, right? So that's the illusion that everybody believes in. All of you listening believe that, okay?
Yep.
The reality. What is the reality? You lose the weight or not, but you... even if you do lose the weight, even up to 100 pounds of losses, you don't get the freedom. It never happens. You might have moments of excitement over, I look better in clothes, I'm more willing to go out because you choose to go out. So there are these things that you give yourself, but the reality is that you don't feel better. You don't feel freer. You don't feel like relaxed. You don't feel this sense of peace and calm and euphoria that you thought. The image was more euphoric than reality. Reality is that you actually have more fear, more terror over gaining it back, that your restrictions around food don't stay the same. They get more strict. You not only more restrictive food issues, but you have more issues with exercise. Now you have to exercise more, right? So you're adding to, because you're paranoid over gaining. You're afraid to gain. You're afraid to expose that this wasn't real. It was only relative to this diet. So you don't ever get freedom. It actually makes your mental illness worse.
Way worse.
Got it. So here we are, and you've been just kind of, one way to describe it would be that you took the shackles off, you opened the door, and you're just standing there.
Yes.
You gave yourself 1 week, right? There was where we said you're just going to have to go into what it would be like to be this size forever.
Right.
Tell me how that week went.
Yes. I think that I managed very well when I was eating to hunger and didn't have any shame or any bad feelings about any of the choices I was making.
What happened to your impulses to eat?
It became easier. Every day I did it, it became easier.
Meaning it wasn't difficult to eat to hunger. And
right.
what happened to the impulses? Because you still were struggling with some impulses to eat emotionally, for boredom, for, kind of like smoking cigarettes when you're having a work issue, when you're bored, when you feel the urge. You wanted to reward yourself. You still had that connection.
I did, and I just had to not talk myself out of it, but take a step back and say that's unrelated. So
the week that you accepted your body, the 1 week that you said, I'm going to live as if this is the body I have forever, did you have issues with that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they go away.
It did go away, and there were times where even after the fact, I looked back and was like, I didn't even realize I just ate. Like, it was just, I didn't even think about it. I ate, I stopped, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, it doesn't take work, right?
No.
So then we were like, okay, we talked on, what, was it Monday that you and I talked?
Monday.
And it's Friday, so it's been a few days. And I said, all right, so I think what we need to do in this position, because you still are struggling, you're sitting there going, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. I said, you know what I think we should do? I think we should diet again. I think we should spend the week. I want you to start dieting so that you have a sense of, if you're not okay with it, I mean, how long can you live in this feeling of, I can't handle, right? That uneasiness about the body, right? The only way to get rid of the uneasiness, because the uneasiness stems from feeling that the body is wrong, right? You have to get rid of the reason the body is wrong to get rid of that, or you fix what you think is wrong.
Right.
I'm going to repeat that. Okay. You have this consequence of uneasiness, discontent, flaw. It is irritable. It has anxiety attached to it. It has a sense of, it's always there. It is always there, right? It doesn't go away, those feelings. Unless you're so entrenched in something that it, for some reason, just for that moment goes away. But when you're not entrenched in something, it is there. It is a constant, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, right? The only way to get rid of it, there's a few approaches here. There is to look at why you've decided this sucks and change those beliefs. Should you feel that way, right?
Right.
Or you fix what you think sucks, which is what you've been doing for 35 years. Right? And you chase the illusion that when I'm thinner, that feeling will go away. When I'm thinner, that feeling will go away. The feeling gets worse when you're thinner. Right? So you have 35 years of evidence. Correct?
Yes, I do.
And I said, well, I think what you might want to do is try going the same route again. What happened this week? As I said, you're to do a ketogenic diet, right? I said you either do Weight Watchers and go to a Weight Watchers meeting. You're going to do ketogenic, which is the new thing, right? Or you do like something else, whatever, or shakes. You can do like Nutri-Shakes or whatever, right? And you decided to do the low carb, right?
Yes. Yep, I did.
How'd it go? What happened this week?
So we decided that, I think, on Tuesday. So I didn't have, in the past I would have had some time to prepare, but Wednesday I got called into meetings, and so instead of opting to eat lunch with the team that I was in meetings with, I decided that I better just, excuse myself since I can't eat what's there anyway. And so.
But they have like sandwiches or something?
Yep.
Sandwiches. Oh my God, those are so bad. I mean, don't they know what they're doing to their body? Oh my God, people are so stupid.
I know, but since I was testing this, I thought, well, better safe than sorry, which of course is not right. But
I wanted you to go into the real of the diet. So if they are eating sandwiches, you can't eat that.
Right. No, I can't.
Not okay.
Right. So by the time I got home at 4:30ish, I hadn't eaten all day and was, because it was a last minute thing for me to go into the meeting. So I hadn't eaten all day and it was just out the window. So binge
So you
on
binged.
anything that was there.
Because you might as well. You've already ruined it.
Well, it wasn't that I had ruined it. I was starving.
Okay,
And
well.
yes, I had ruined it by just not saying, okay, bump in the road. I need to just deal with this and figure it out, and it's not any big deal. But
well, eating because you're hungry is not necessarily a binge. Remember, a binge goes with, there's a degree of failure. There's always a sense of failure with a binge. Always.
Right. Well, I did know that I was going to do better the next day. So yes, so that is what my new, how I define the binge, is knowing that regardless of the amount I ate, which doesn't matter if it was less or more than I would have normally eaten, it still was, but I knew that Thursday, which was yesterday, that I would be, back on track. And
back on track.
Right.
That means you feel like you failed. Yeah. So right, how was yesterday? How'd that go? Did you fix it?
It was difficult because, there were, it just was difficult. It definitely made me realize that choosing to eat to hunger, no shame, no guilt with anything that is available to me is a much easier route than trying to pick apart. Okay, I ate an apple, which is fine, but I wanted some peanut butter. Well, should I really have a little peanut butter because there's fat in it? Or
yeah, it's an actual legume.
Every single thing.
Yeah, because because that's what it requires. Don't you agree?
That's what it requires.
To lose the weight for the reasons you've chosen to lose weight. Right? You can't just let it happen naturally.
Right. God forbid.
No, there's no, you can't, because the belief says your body is naturally messed up. So you can't just let the body do it. You have to do it the way that the expert says your body should do it, because the expert knows more than your body. So you have to do it their way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I already had planned for my additional, low, no starches and no refined sugars today as well. But I had already given myself the permission that it was just going to be eating to hunger, and if something came up that I wasn't going to split it today.
So here's what I'm hearing. You really had a hard time actually dieting now.
I did.
And when you say binge, it's kind of hard to binge now, because you really have changed would you agree that maybe your brain chemistry is changing?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's kind of hard to have the same shame, because your brain is starting to resolve the shame because of this, the way we're doing this.
Yes.
I mean, the whole point of our sessions up to this point has been, changing your beliefs about body image, changing your beliefs around food religion, giving yourself so much grace and understanding because of what has happened, the lenience in this, then you have this experience eating without shame and guilt and dieting, right? So it's kind of hard to go back and have an eating disorder the same way.
Yes, absolutely.
That is a sign of what has shifted over the last few weeks for you.
Right.
If we had done this exercise 3 weeks ago, you would be in the same furious binging mode. This was not the same. I can hear it. I'm hearing it with your description. It's like you really are giving yourself some lenience and grace. So yeah, you overate, but even when you were saying I ate and I'll fix it tomorrow, it was nowhere close to an actual binge.
No.
Which is, I failed, I suck, I failed, I'm so bad, and you're shoving things in your face without even chewing.
Right, no, wasn't quite to that extent.
All right, well, that's good news. Would you say that this was worth going back into doing it, the diet? Was it worth it? Did you feel like you got anything out of this?
It was, I did, because it really did, again, that was hard. I mean, it is hard, and it's hard because I have to micromanage every single thing. And when you eat to hunger, no shame, no guilt, that's it. That is there's a period at the end of that, and that's it. Whereas micromanaging requires lists and lists and rules and
constant focus. You have to really focus on it. So your brain power is focused in on it. So it really requires quite a bit of effort. Not just effort, but a little bit of a degree of obsessiveness, because it has to be super focused. You need to know. You need to know what's in your foods. You have to read the labels. You have to know quantities. You have to really have a degree of insanity. I have been there. And it is suffering.
Yes.
Notice that it really kind of sucked.
It did. Oh, for sure it sucked.
So the question I have for you is, how much weight loss would be worth that?
0.
Okay, so where this brings me, because this is why I recommend this. People who struggle with body image and they struggle to let it go, there is a process, right, of give and take and experimentation. It's like you give yourself this freedom. The freedom you felt last week. Do you remember when you said, I was watching my friends on, you have all of your friends are on some form of diet right now.
Yes.
Just watching it.
Yeah, crazy.
You felt bad for them. Like, I felt bad.
Right.
And you also noticed that it didn't matter how much body fat they had. All of them felt bad about it. Whether they had 10 pounds to lose or 50 pounds to lose, they all felt that it had to change.
Yes.
Right? Enough so that they're willing to devote their life, their brain, to micromanaging and focusing on it.
Yes.
And
they all felt like that their 10 to 50 pound range did not make them worthy of living, I guess. You know, like it's life or death for them. Whereas I see them all as, you know, my best friends who I love no matter what, and I don't even notice, nor does it make any difference to me.
No, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, and you said you also have a friend who has lost a significant amount of weight with some program, and you're having a hard time encouraging her.
Yes.
Not because you're jealous, not because you don't want her to be happy, but you understand the severity, the psychological ramifications as she loses, that her issues are getting bigger psychologically, her fear, her anxiety, the panic. And you also understand how bad she's going to feel about herself when she gains or messes up the program.
Yes, which she already has, and it. You know, she is someone who also has lost and gained maybe in 50 to 60 pound increments a couple times since I've known her. And I guess it's hard to praise her for dieting because I've been there. And when people praised me, what it did to maintaining was that much harder.
Yeah, because you have to maintain, if you're needing their validation and you open yourself to the exposure of validation from them, it feels really bad when you don't do well.
Yes.
It feels worse because you feel like you have to hide more because you don't want to disappoint these people. So if you're using their praise to feel better about yourself, that means when you don't do it right, you feel like you're losing praise. So there's a degree of loss involved that makes, so your weight prior to, when you get to the weight you had prior to, you feel a lot more, you feel worse about it than you did when you were at the same exact weight before. So, and it's not like you're wishing the failure of this. You don't have, there's nothing. You wouldn't want nothing more than for your friend to just be happy, right?
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of the discomfort comes because I know what comes along with it.
It's hard to encourage something so awful.
Right. Well, you and I spoke earlier this week. She also we went and ate, I guess on Tuesday night, and she made the comment of she's now giving herself a little buffer. And I was like,
to gain.
Have I not? I've been there a million times. A 10-pound buffer.
That means she's not psychologically she's struggling she's having the impulses to eat that come from survival, and she's struggling managing those impulses. So,
right, and it's just so close to home because I've given myself that 10-pound buffer, you know.
Yeah, and it's the beginning of this other swing. The pendulum swing is turning.
Beginning of the end.
Oh, God. And it's hard to encourage that, isn't it?
Yes.
I know.
Yes,
so you're going to have to find a way to let her know that she loves with her love language because at this point you realize that buying into this and feeding into it is actually causing her harm.
Right.
Correct.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
yes, and I'm just trying to look at it from, okay, I remember how it feels, you know, to kind of just make me more confident in eating to hunger, shame, no guilt, and just remaining as I am if that's what it is.
Yeah. You know what this
that
is?
makes it easier to see that when you see someone else going through the crazy right in front of you.
It's true. It does, because you realize that I don't want that. Well, and this is no different. Theirs is no different than having a friend who's obsessed with running marathons, and she feels bad that she doesn't have the time. And you know that she's obsessed with this, and it causes she's got awful issues with her immune system, sleeping issues. She has serious signs of inflammation, blah, blah, blah. But she believes that when she gets her runs in, she's a better person, or she feels safe, and she feels like, I just need this to feel good, right?
Yes.
Right? And this would be like you encouraging her to sign up for another marathon.
Right. Yep. No different.
Oh, it's just like, It's like, again, it's no different than someone who it's like a bodybuilder. Let's just use a bodybuilder who thinks they have to be massively huge and have these muscles and have the development and taking selfies of their big ass bodies, right? And the amount of work and obsession in being big. And then they have a child issue, and they're in, they have the normal life circumstance that doesn't allow them in the gym, and they feel really bad that they're not as big. They have serious issues feeling inadequate because they didn't get to the gym, and they feel like their body is atrophying or getting smaller. How do you think that person feels?
Right, the same.
It is identical. It's a body image culture. This just so happens to be worshiping the thin model versus the body, muscle model versus the how much running can I do versus the CrossFit model versus all of those forms of body image worship. Or don't forget the people who worship food, who feel bad when they can't control the environment. They actually have feelings of shame and inadequacy, and they feel bad about themselves because they had to eat a grilled cheese sandwich. Oh God, it sucks. It sucks. Anyways,
it's true. You talk about, the spectrum, the spectrum, or there's a big spectrum, and it doesn't matter which side you're on because the issues are always the same at the root.
There is a root to this, so you have to really look at that and say, hey, I really want to ask the question here. Let's talk about the emotion of shame. We've been talking about shame for a long time because shame is the root of most addictions. In fact, shame is the root of all addiction.
Right.
Because in order to get rid of shame, you need a narcotic, especially if your beliefs create shame. How can you change your beliefs to create happiness? You can't, because you have shame-based beliefs. So you're going to need a narcotic, right?
Right.
So let's talk about shame. What do you think is worthy of shame? The lowest state of consciousness? This is I suck, I'm a bad person, I suck. That's what shame is. What would be a good reason to have shame? Maybe torturing animals, for your pleasure?
Right, that would be a little crazy.
Torturing other humans for pleasure? Like you actually want to visibly see their pain for your pleasure? Maybe that's a good shame equality. Doesn't mean that's not forgivable. Right? There is a degree of, but that's worthy of shame. Right? True worthy of shame. You have believed that having body fat is equal to torturing animals and people.
Right.
In terms of
I
shame.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is even 100 pounds of extra fat worthy of that type of shame?
No. Nope.
You realize that if you change these beliefs about what's worthy of shame, that this actually adjusts a lot more beliefs than just body image.
I do.
Like, for example, is doing drugs worthy of the shame of torturing people? No.
Doing drugs? No.
Nope. Okay. How about stealing?
No.
No. How about lying? No. How about breaking something?
No.
No. Okay. So how about not having enough education?
No.
How about someone being smarter than you?
No.
How about someone being more generous than you?
No.
Okay. How about someone being faster and more athletic? Meaning you're not athletic enough. Is that worthy of shame?
Nope.
Okay. How about how much money you make?
No.
Okay. I mean, consider how many beliefs people hold on to that makes them worthy of shame. For me, it was premarital sex. I was indoctrinated. It was consistent. Sex before marriage is the next deadliest sin, to murder. Oh, I believed that. If you leave this religion, you're going to go into outer darkness. So not being in the right religion, is that worthy of shame?
No.
Okay, well, that's what I was taught. So we clearly, a lot of these things are taught, right? So when I was having my mental illness, worthy of shame, shame is the source of what I swear, I felt it, I knew it in that moment. I had to really look at, is having sex before marriage, especially since I was so naive, I was isolated from reality. And then my beliefs were even further up the scale of isolation, right? So when I came into reality, I did not have my own discernment. I didn't know how to function in reality. So what do you think is going to happen as a sexual being as I'm being pursued by men, right? Is I become vulnerable. And what happens in an innocent moment where I didn't even know what was going on?
Right.
And I end up having sex. Because I'm afraid to say no.
You need to have shame.
Honestly, reality, the belief, okay? Because I had internalized it, the belief, it doesn't matter what your reasoning is or what happens. Premarital sex is the next deadliest sin, to murder. That's in the doctrine of this, okay? It's taught. It is in the teacher's books, okay? What do you think I felt like?
Piece of shit.
Oh my God. Like the worst human being. I have failed. I have almost literally murdered someone. I am ashamed. Like true, definitive, can't go back shame.
Right.
So it's clearly when someone hits that level, you're going to have problems psychologically.
Right.
You can't have that type of shame without psychological problems. Because now you're hitting a very deep survival mechanism. Okay, so let's just go into how much shame that you've been put towards body image. Really? Is what you have today worthy of that type of shame?
No, not at all.
So when do you realize that it's not even worth guilt? And how do you dissolve the shame of it? How do you dissolve the shame and fear of it, right? So someone who is, let's say, 20 pounds overweight or 40 pounds overweight, and they honestly feel the same way you do, having over 100 pounds overweight. How do you convince someone to realize that this is not worthy of shame? Nobody on the face of this planet, I don't care if you're 500 pounds, that is not worthy of shame. how you got here is so forgivable because it isn't a lack of effort. It's not like you chose to do this to yourself. You didn't. You didn't.
No. Nope.
So what we're really looking at now is the center and core of your beliefs around what makes you a valuable human being, worthy of love, worthy of compassion, worthy of grace, and worthy of being here to learn. And is the way you look worthy of this type of attention?
Of love, grace, compassion, and everything, of course.
Yeah, it's not worthy of attention. It's not. You have done an incredible job. You did everything the diet culture wanted you to. You gave them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And your brain cells, you gave them your intelligence, you gave them your praise, you gave them your worship. You devoted yourself to that idol full and wholeheartedly. And what has it given you in return? Shame.
Right. It hasn't given me anything. Well, no.
Shame.
Right. It is shame, which is something.
It is something. And only you can reclaim yourself from it. You're never going to get it from them. You're never going to get grace and lenience and forgiveness from a belief that says that your thinness is your worth. So therefore, anything other than thinness is lack of worth. Right? You're not going to get it from them. They make money off of food shaming, food mongering, body image praising. They show you the picture of ideal and they tell you 5 foods not to eat, right? They thrive on this. There's a huge amount of our country and culture and first world culture. So I have a lot of clients in Australia. Okay, it's not just in America. Don't forget Dubai. Don't forget all the. There is still so much shame around anything other than the ideal body. And you're going to have to decide if this is worthy of that type of attention, because you're the one sitting there. You pulled off the shackles. You actually have one foot on the other side and you're splitting in the door. And you've got to be able to look at what you have, being that it is even 100 pounds overweight, and you have to be able to say, this is not worthy of shame. This is not wrong. The belief is. No human being should feel this way about body fat. Not one.
I agree.
Okay. So where do you go from here?
I believe that after my test this week that I continued eating to hunger. No shame, no guilt. And
what will give you that freedom, honey? What gives you that freedom?
Accepting who I am right this minute.
Yeah. What happens if you gain, oh my God, if she keeps on eating free, what's going to keep her from binging and gaining more weight?
Well, that hasn't happened, so I don't know, but all I can do is if I want to take the easy way out, the easy way out is letting my body figure it out.
Okay, you know that now. But when we started, that was the hard way out. This was so hard.
Right. And that is the easiest way out of feeling ashamed of my body.
Yeah. So for going back to me, because you need to see that this is truly about beliefs worthy of shame. For me, I remember thinking, I truly and wholeheartedly don't believe I should feel bad about this. I just don't believe I should feel this bad. And you know what that forced me to do for the first time in my life?
What?
Look at those beliefs. Why did I give them so much credibility? Why would I just blindly believe in it? There's no grace involved with this belief. There's no lenience. It's so ignorant. There's so much ignorant it is so ignorant to reality. And I really had to decide I am not a bad person, which means that belief is wrong. It changed my core. That literally was this moment for me happened in my out-of-body experience. There's so much detail to this experience that I had. And this is one of those moments where I literally went to the core and questioned, am I a bad person? Why should I feel this way? I shouldn't feel bad. I shouldn't feel bad that I fell in love with someone who isn't a member of that religion. I shouldn't be thrown into outer darkness, which is worse than, right? Because I fell in love with someone who doesn't believe this stuff, right? My entire identity crumbled at that moment. And you know what was left? This spirit that was for the first time ever honored. My spirit was honored. I stopped honoring these beliefs. And for the first time ever, I actually cloaked my soul and said, this soul is worthy of far more than what it has been given credit. I must be going to start my period because I'm really sensitive. Clearly, you are worthy of this.
I do not disagree with that.
And so are my children. So are your children. So is everybody out there. This war against authenticity has got to stop at some point, and it takes you doing it for yourself to end it. It took me doing it for myself for it to end. And this is where you're at. You're literally at the cornerstone of this problem that you have truly devoted yourself to, and that has caused so much suffering and pain. You're here, and you have the opportunity to walk away forever. Which means you are completely free to honor your humanity, your soul, your goodwill, your kindness. For the first time, you are honoring something that is so precious, that has always been there. This is not something you have to seek out and make or create or read a book to get, right?
Right.
It has been there from the beginning. For the first time, you are going to be honoring your reality instead of some ideal. Oh, God. I need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. So, how do you feel about the body you're in? Is it good enough?
My body is good enough. Not just my body, but I'm good enough in my body.
Oh, of course you are. I will leave you with this one last thing. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but one of the exercises I do periodically, I do what I call I filter. Because I think it's natural to become attached and to get sucked into our lives and to get sucked into stupidity with our luxurious environment. Like we acclimate to needing our cell phones into this stuff, and they become important, right?
Yep.
And I go through a filter as I've learned what has happened to me in that past life. I have learned and I've gained wisdom. So I naturally now try to avoid attaching to things and attaching to the environment, right? So I filter out and I go down to what is necessary for me to be happy. And it always comes down to food, shelter, and my children. That's all I need, right? So my biggest vulnerability at this point, besides food and shelter, it is my children. And so what I have done to detach from my children is I imagine something happens that I cannot control, and everyone dies around me. I know this sounds a little bizarre, but this truly has changed my sense of need for my children. I need them intensely. I think this is normal to have these feelings for your children. I think it's part of maternal need, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not saying by needing them and loving them and being attached that there's something wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong. However, I do not want to project my fear onto them. Right? As if it's their job to make me feel secure as a mom. That's not the case. So what I've come to realize, right, as I go through these filtering is how could I survive without my children? If they were all gone, what would keep me from committing suicide? Because the first thought that comes to my mind is I might as well just end it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is to hold on a second. I have a body. If I'm still here on this planet, I'm still attached to a body, which means there is something I can do still. The only thing that I have come to is that if all of my children were to die and I have nothing, that I do have goodwill. I would just devote my life to providing something good with my life, to giving good to the world in some way. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to change the world. Of course not.
Right.
It is just to provide something good. Then that is something that is worthy of continuing life. If I'm attached to this body, if I just kill it, then there's nothing. That is the truth. But if I still have this body and I'm still attached to it and I still have ability to be conscious, even in my thoughts I can provide just by being positive. Isn't that worthy of life?
Yes. Yep.
So what that has done for me is it has given me this awareness that I can do that with my kids here.
Right.
And I don't have to hoard and isolate them and hypermanage them. And I can give them freedom to give their goodwill. And I can instill goodwill not even instill it because it exists in them. It exists in all humanity. That I can give them freedom to do that.
Right.
As their mother. Right. And security in the home. So if that is what we're really looking at in terms of human quality, do you have that quality?
I do.
What do you need in your life to have goodwill? Or what I would call good integrity? What do you need to give that?
I don't know, just an openness to do that. I mean,
that's it.
You don't really need anything.
You're correct.
You have to be open to do it.
You've got it. You have to believe that you have that.
Right.
Do you have that?
Oh, I do.
Don't you agree that since the day you became consciously here in this body, that you've always had that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that worthy? Is that more worthy than what you look like?
Oh, for sure.
More worthy than how much money you make?
Yep.
How much education you have?
Yes.
What religion you're following?
Yes.
Correct. Now, if you use that as the foundation of your sense of worth, how do you feel about yourself?
Pretty damn good.
That's right. You don't have a self-worth problem, do you?
No, I do not.
So if someone looks at you and is like, you might want to try a sugar cleanse, you're really inflamed and we need to fix that. You'll feel so much better about yourself. Oh my God, you'll feel so good when you're wearing those clothes and you can go out dancing and feel good about yourself.
Right.
It just seems a little silly now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Sure, you'll feel better physically. Sure, you'll feel, but you know what? That intent and integrity does not feel good. Because it's basically saying that the body image and the health image is more important than the alma.
Right.
Yeah. All right, I have got to stop this video. Thanks for letting me share this.